On this episode, Eric gives us a tour of down below on Makani. We take Makani out for her official TransPac photo with a special guest at the helm, my dad. First off, we'll do a tour of down below, followed by a description of the electrical system, the recent addition of our water maker, and the hard work Eric has put in to give us 2 valuable sea berths. So please enjoy the episode.
Hey everybody,
that's my
Eric
dad.
Here again.
By the way, that's my dad in the back.
Yeah, that's Fred. Fred holding the camera, and this is Eric talking. So this is the interior of our Catalina 38 as we're going to use it for racing. So it's got a very classic, 70s, 80s boat layout. Because it has a narrow stern, it's got a quarter berth rather than a cabin back aft. It's a nice wide quarter berth. It also functions as a seat for the navigation station, which you can see right there. Right now we don't have a cushion in there. We'll have one for the race. It's also where we have to keep our life raft. Because we're an older boat, we are allowed to carry a soft cased life raft here that is strapped in place. And if we ever have to abandon the boat, we're going to have to haul this puppy out and deploy it. And the standard is that we can get it on deck in 15 seconds. So it has to be right here. So a new cushion is going to go in there that fits around the life raft. Over here is the galley. Some things we had to do for the race were make sure that these hatch covers here for dry storage were secure. The boat needs to be able to take an inverted roll and not have gear come adrift. So this hatch cover has now got hinges and a lock. The icebox lids are now hinged with tabs, so they stay closed. We're going to add some mesh screens that keep all the dishware in place. And the stove has to be fastened in so that it won't come flying out if the boat takes a heavy roll. So that was some of the work done in the galley. One other small thing we did was we did a little test to see whether we would have enough propane to make it to Hawaii.
Right.
So we ran the stove for about 12 hours to see how much propane we burned per hour, and we figured we burn about 1/10 of a pound per hour. And since we have a 10-pound tank and we plan on using the stove only an hour to 2 a day at most, we figure we're good for a 20-day trip to Hawaii on the propane tank. But it was unnerving when we didn't have any real idea of how much propane we might need.
And we have refrigeration?
Yes, we have a refrigerator.
Okay.
It's not just an icebox. So that's another big power draw for which we needed battery systems. But plan is for us to start off with quite a few frozen casseroles. We'll see if we can make it 5 to 7 days of frozen casseroles, and then we're going to switch to prepackaged sealed meals that don't need refrigeration, because we don't think frozen items are going to last, and even in that deep ice box, which has really good insulation, but even in there, they're not going to last more than about 6 days frozen. So again, that's part of the planning. Moving forward here, so the salon used to have a nice dinette table and nice cushions around it. It used to be carpeted, but when this boat's at sea, it's really hard to sleep basically out of the middle of the boat. The forward cabin becomes kind of like a Thunderdome. It's really uncomfortable to sleep up there, and from a sailing performance standpoint, you don't want weight up there anyhow. So rather than making a double berth here and squeezing 2 people into this and 1 person there in the navigator, and it'd basically be really crowded with sleeping people all at one level down here. We added some pilot berths. So these are just pipe frames that I had a local fabricator make. And they're really simple. They just pivot around the frame itself on some brackets that were just screwed into the bulkheads. So we tested these out during Newport to Ensenada race, and they work really well. So this one over here has a nice cushion, and that one will get a cushion as well. But these are the pipe berths, and this way we sort of have bunk beds for sleeping. So it keeps all of the weight in the middle of the boat for performance. And if we're not using one of these, there's plenty of room for gear storage. Basically, it takes advantage of this unused space in the middle of the boat here.
Yeah.
Then going forward, this boat's got the classic head on the port side.
Actually, we got to talk about this head
Oh,
and how awesome it is. Racers are gonna hate this head. They're gonna be like,
racers are
"Oh
gonna
my
be jealous of
gosh,
the head."
that's true."
Because it's
This
got a
is
good
how-
grab handle.
Look at that. Yeah, when you walk in, you have this thing to grab hold of, and then when you're sitting, you got this thing to hold on to. It's the best, and it's fore and aft. I know everybody out there is like, "God, this guy's making a bunch of noise about a bathroom," but I'm going to tell you right now that that's the A thing to have. It's a good head. The thing's amazing. Okay. Sorry about all the noise. And
Yeah, now Fred's
Oops,
looking at the V berth up here, and this is just going to be loose storage. I mean, and in port or at anchor, it's very comfortable for two people to sleep. But at sea, that the bow is moving up and down, and the if the boat's heeled at all, it's really just uncomfortable to sleep up there. So this is where we're going to store extra solar panels, extra sails, extra gear bags, foul weather gear if we're not using it, and just stuff. We'll try to keep the weight out of the ends, but that's about it.
yeah, cool. So that is the interior tour of Makani.
Eric will now discuss our new electrical system.
Hey everybody. So when we thought about doing TransPac, we took a look at what the electrical requirements are to do a race, an ocean race, and they're quite a bit higher than the antiquated system we had aboard could handle. I mean, we need to be able to power a water maker, navigation computer, instruments, lights, transfer pumps, etc. And it just adds up to more power than just a simple car battery can handle, which is all we had before. So we went to a lithium system, and it took a bit of design work with the help of some friends, but it involved, when you go to a lithium system, you have to have something to manage the batteries. And in that case, we have a battery management system. We have something to protect the batteries from getting too low. And then to charge these batteries, because they hold total of 400 amp hours, which is about 4 times as much as we had before. We need a new alternator, which means we needed something to regulate the alternator. So it's an entire integrated system to give us enough power to get through one day of TransPac. So we figure we're gonna have to run the engine about 90 minutes to 2 hours a day to keep these batteries charged. We're going to add some solar panels and see if that offsets it, and maybe we can get down to half an hour or less of charging, but we'll see. But so far the system has been phenomenal and reliable. And the only vestige that we kept was an old starting battery, and this is what starts the engine. But everything else, the black battery is the starting battery, an old-fashioned lead acid battery. And the blue stuff is all the new lithium system. So, short answer is, even this old boat and our relatively simple setup, we're still using close to somewhere between 180 and 200 amp hours a day to handle all the needs. And this is what's going to get us there. So that's it.
Part of that is my computer, so we're still trying to solve that to reduce power on the laptop. But we need that for navigation and all this video stuff.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Fred.
We will now talk about the new water maker.
Hey, everybody. Eric here again. So another need for crossing an ocean is obviously water. Really, you should plan for about a minimum of 1 gallon a day per person, since we have a crew of 5, and it's going to take us as many as 20 days to get there. We need to carry 100 gallons of water, or we can put in a water maker. So I have a good friend, Steve, who has done TransPac and Pac Cup numerous times. He wasn't doing it this summer, so he offered us his water maker here. Great little system that produces about 6 to 8 gallons per hour, but it required a bit of plumbing and consideration on where to install it, and how to plumb it and wire it. So we looked at a bunch of different places in the boat. If we looked at the quarter berth, we looked in the V berth, we looked at maybe putting it right in the middle of the salon, and ultimately I removed some cabinetry here. There was a cabinet and some drawers, and it made a perfect space for this. It's the reason to have it here, it needs to be below the water line to get good priming flow, and also needs to be close to where we can put a water tank. And since one water tank is in the bow, it's close to that, and then we put a permanent bladder in underneath here as our second water tank. And so when the system fills up with water, lo and behold, this is a bladder filled with water right now from the water maker.
And that holds
25 gallons.
25 gallons.
So
we have how many gallons up front?
23.
23.
So yeah, we can't carry enough water unless we put it all in jugs to get to Hawaii. So we need the water maker. And this thing is about the single biggest power draw on the boat. It uses about 15 to 17 amps per hour, and we have to run it roughly an hour a day. In the scheme of things, that's not a lot, but when you add it up with everything else, it's one of those things that drove us to get a lithium power system to make the boat go.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so this system is working great. We only put it in about 6 days ago, and we have filled up our water tanks, and it's going to get us to Hawaii.
And everybody's drank it so far that's been around.
Yeah, no, I tested the water.
So nobody's sick, so we're winning.
Yeah. Well, so, Steve also gave me his little water tester to test the quality of the water. So first run out, I tested it, and it was right around 405 parts per million. And World Health Organization standard is less than 500, so the water's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, 400 seems kind of high, though. That's, 7/8 of the or 6, 3/4 of the way towards 500.
Yeah.
So I grabbed a sample of water out of the dock hoses, actually out of the dock spigot, and that was at 485 parts per million. So this thing's producing much better water than what we can get out of the dock system.
Nice.
So that's what we have, and we're gonna have to run this guy again, as I said, about around an hour a day, and that's just for personal consumption. We're going to use salt water to wash all of the dishes and do everything, wash our hands, wash our face, because the fresh water is only for drinking. And even with that, we still need about 80 to 100 gallons to get to Hawaii.
We will leave you with some video of us sailing around San Diego Bay as we get our official TransPac picture taken. I want to give a big shout out to Solo, Jody, and Keenan for helping us out. At the end, you will see the 2 pictures that we submitted for the TransPac website. Please like and subscribe, and pass on to anybody else you think might be interested in our channel. Thanks again.